Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Joanna Lansman. I'm the president of the Board of Trustees, and I am so happy to be greeting you again this morning, live from our sanctuary. I can feel you with me, with us, and it feels so good. Welcome. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and to engage the world as spiritual seekers. Won't you take those words to heart? Before our service begins this morning, I have a couple of announcements. First, today is Partner Church Sunday, where we honor our 30-year partnership with the village of Gyepes in Transylvania, Romania. It's a time to celebrate community and the ties that connect our hearts with the hearts of our friends from across the globe. Most years we have met in the gathering room after the service to enjoy lots of Hungarian goodies. Alas, this year we aren't physically together, but we can still enjoy one another's company. So please join us at 11:30 in our Zoom room for a joyful time of telling stories, watching a video that our friends in Gyepes made for us, and learning more about our student sponsorship program. The Zoom link is in an email that you received this morning, as well as in today's order of worship. And secondly, next Sunday, October 25th, will be a special gathering Sunday, led by the Worship Council. That morning service will be on Zoom, where you'll be able to see each other's faces, and will include a time for sharing joys and concerns with one another. This service will still be live, but it won't be recorded, so please be sure to sign in at 10:30 next week. But for now, take a deep breath and settle in to this different but still sacred space we share together. Reverend Hillary will lead us into our worship.
Good morning. How are you? Thanks for joining us today. My name is Reverend Hillary Collins-Gilpatrick, and it is with joy that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever you're done, you are welcome here, and we're glad you're here this morning. My friends, it is good to be with you today as we celebrate our annual Partner Church service and lift up our long-standing relationship with our friends of the Hungarian Unitarian Church of Gyepes, Transylvania. Our service today, as Joanna just explained, is a particularly special one, as this year we celebrate 30 years of partnership with Gyepes. This morning, with the help of our Partner Church Council, we'll learn about the history, hear the stories, and even see some memories of this partnership. And thank you to the Partner Church Council for the attention, the curiosity, and the love you have given and continue to give to this important connection over the years. And thank you, Joanna, Marge, and Lily, for sharing the pulpit with me today. Though our relationship with Gyepes is 3 decades old, it, like many things at First U, is brand new to me. And I am honored to celebrate our anniversary today and was adamant about participating in this service, not only so I could pay my respects to this important relationship, but so I could learn more about it. And no matter how much you know about Gyepes and our Unitarian roots, I invite you to settle in and enjoy this service with me, this opportunity for learning and for deeper engagement in our faith and our history. This morning, I'm grateful to Marge Titcomb, who will be offering a homily entitled, We Need Not Think Alike to Love Alike. And though this statement is extremely relevant to our present day, it actually is attributed to Francis David, a 16th century Transylvanian theologian and one of our Unitarian pioneers. Francis David believed in God and believed that God was indivisible, a grand whole and holy all. And I know we bring different beliefs about God to the sanctuary this morning, but my friends, we need not think alike to love alike. And I cannot help but apply this understanding of an indivisible divine to our connection with Gyepes, whose roots are our roots, and whose branches stretch upward, just like ours. Our opening words this morning are the words etched on a dedication plaque the Partner Church Council made to honor our 30 years of partnership with Gyepes. Connected by the spirit of life, with Unitarian roots holding us close, we give loving thanks. I now light our chalice in peace and friendship and partnership. Our service has begun. Won't you join me in listening or perhaps singing along to our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life, or in Hungarian, Esten Leke. Yeah? Thanks, Sam.
Our reading this week is a poem by Alberto Rio, a writer, poet, and teacher, who has been described as one of the most important contemporary voices dedicated to finding, declaring, and celebrating the power of diverse community. We are a tribe. We are a tribe. We plant seeds in the ground and dreams in the sky, hoping that someday the roots of one will meet the upstretched limbs of the other. It has not happened yet. We share the sky, all of us, the whole world. Together, we are a tribe of eyes that look upward, even as we stand on uncertain ground. The earth beneath us moves, quiet and wild, its boundaries shifting, its muscles wavering. The dream of sky is indifferent to all this, impervious to borders, fences, reservations. The sky is our common home, the place we all live. There we are in the world together. The dream of sky requires no passport. Blue will not be fenced. Blue will not be a crime. Look up. Stay a while. Let your breathing slow. Know that you always have a home here.
Thanks, Lily. We now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and contemplation. As they are recorded, we'll not be sharing joys and sorrows during our Sunday services this fall. And if you have a joy, a sorrow, or concern you'd like to share with the community, please join us for Vespers on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., where we have an open time for sharing. Please know that I am also here to listen to you, to walk with you, and to hold your joys and concerns with you. Don't hesitate to reach out and let me know how you are. In a moment, we'll enter into a time of quiet. This is a time to perhaps reflect on the events of the past week, look forward to what might lie ahead, or simply be here now in this moment and all that it offers us in sensation and emotion. And I'll add that I know a lot of you are just watching from your living room or perhaps from your kitchen right now, eating breakfast, drinking coffee, folding laundry, whatever it is you might be doing. But I do invite you to take these next couple minutes and just be still. Let yourself quiet. Let yourself come back to earth. As we take this time of quiet, I'll light 3 candles, one for our joys, one for our sorrows, and one for this moment that we share. Won't you join me now by relaxing into your body, taking a deep, refreshing breath, and entering a time of quiet. we simply do not have the words to explain. We hear you, we hold you, we wish you continued joy, immediate comfort, path forward, and the seeds of peace. Amen. This week, our half plate supports our 30-year partnership tradition with Gyepes, our Hungarian Unitarian partner village in Transylvania. Attending school is financially very difficult in Gyepes. The Romanian government offers free public education, the buildings and the teachers, but does not provide transportation or any other expenses. Nor does it provide food and housing for the high school kids who must board away from home. We, here at First Universalist, support Gyepes education through annual sponsorships that fund half of the annual need for each student. Our annual sponsorships are $60 per student through 8th grade and $360 through high school. To find out more about these sponsorships or to sponsor a specific student, visit us in today's Zoom Learning Hour or contact Marge Titcomb. You're invited to make your offering this morning using the donate button in the order of worship you were sent. And by clicking this link, you'll be taken to Give Butter, a virtual giving site that accepts a card number, PayPal, or Venmo account. You may also give your offering by dropping a check in the mail or using your bank's bill pay feature. This morning's offering has now been requested and will be gratefully received. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That reminds me of a time when we were in Transylvania and we danced at a Transylvanian wedding. It was so much fun. So why do we have this 30-year partnership with Gyepes? Well, our story begins 100 years ago, back in 1920, following World War I. National lines were redrawn, and Transylvania, part of Hungary, was given as a war prize to what was then tiny Romania. The Transylvania landscape is blanketed with villages that remain today deeply rooted in their Hungarian culture. Our village, Gyepes, is a remote subsistence farming village of about 50 families. It has just one church, and the entire village is ethnic Hungarian and Unitarian. Imagine waking up one morning and suddenly being a citizen of a different country, where you could not study or work unless you knew the Romanian language. Hard times in Gyepes. Then World War II, the Soviets occupied Romania. In 1948, once again, national lines were redrawn by Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin. Stalin received Eastern Europe. So began the 40-year communist era. Hard times in Gyepes got harder for most. Whole villages were flooded to force Hungarians to move to the city factories. About half of Gyepes' population was removed. Gyepes was on the list to be flooded out in March of 1990, but just 3 months earlier, in December of '89, Gyepes was spared. Some of you may remember the 1989 Romania uprising, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the collapse of the Soviet Union. In December 1989, Romania's dictator Ceausescu was overthrown, mocked, tried, and executed on Christmas Day. This opportunity to develop some sort of democracy has led to dramatic changes, imperfect as it is. A week later, in January 1990, 30 years ago, following Ceausescu's execution, the then president of the UUA, Bill Schultz, visited Transylvania and asked the Unitarian bishop what could the UUA do. The bishop's immediate response was a request that the UUA reestablish the partner church program that was in place until it was banned in 1920. This was quickly done, and so began our partnerships. We were among the first wave of churches to sign on to a partnership. As the communist era of collective farming ended, the communities began receiving back their land and buildings that had been taken away. This process still slowly moves on today. However, as land was returned, the machinery of collective bargaining, collective farming, was immediately taken away by the Soviets. The people returned to subsistence farming with hoes and scythes. Some are still in use today. You can ask Pete about actually trying to use one someday. The partnerships began with major financial needs, but over time, it's become so much more than about money. I go to Transylvania to deeply experience a different culture with now beloved friends, and to explore the origins and history of our faith, and how it's being lived today by people on their own land, a minority ethnic group practicing a minority faith governed by Romanian settlers. It reminds me a bit of our Wabanaki people here in Maine. So what was life really like in Gyepes during communism? On one of my visits, we asked that question. I'd like to share a simple story which, for me, is profoundly rich in appreciation, sadness, and hope. 3 of us visited the homes of 3 highly respected elders, Laci, Sylvia, and Alec, people my age, each born during World War II. We had, on previous visits, shared laughter, tears, palinka, and food. These visits included all of that with the addition of one simple question. So, how is life during communism for you? At Lachi's home, his answer, oh, things were so much better during communism. Farms were 100% productive then, now only 50%, very poor, having had the mechanization taken away. Wow. Probing deeper, we discovered that he was one of the leading families in the community, and he had been targeted by the communist authorities to be the village leader to implement the new rules. They arrived in intimidating limos. He would be well paid, and as long as he played along, he and his family were safe. The alternative was death, and eyes were watching. We then visited Sylvia, who had just made fresh donuts for us and served a treasured palanca made by her husband the year before he died. So how was it for you during communism, Sylvia? She told us that she and her husband chose to live quietly in the village, navigating the hazardous edge of not declaring one side or the other. They isolated themselves as best they could, focusing on the daily chores and raising their family. Sylvia still lives quietly in the village, enjoying tending to her lovely gardens and always smiling. Her biggest wish, to have running water in her home. And finally, we visited Alec, the music director and a man of great passion, high integrity, and humor, and deeply opposed to communism. His blue eyes are either sparkling brightly or washed with tears as he tells his stories. So, how was it for you during communism? Alec told us that when he was 10 years old, during the 1956 Hungarian Revolution, he watched his father secretly bury the village's Hungarian flag in their barn, a flag then banned under threat of death. He carried this secret for 34 years until communism fell in 1990, and with great emotion, the villagers unearthed this historic flag, which now hangs framed in the church in Gyepes. Alec also told us of an impish prank he played in 1966 when he was 20 years old. Ceausescu had just come to power, and death threats were intense. Being a musician and somewhat rebellious, he publicly played the banned Hungarian folk song Székely Aldas, which is our closing hymn today. That led him to having his nose broken and making daily check-ins with the local police. He was threatened with imprisonment and the disappearing of his family if he didn't sign the book accepting communism. He refused at each of his daily appearances. Eventually they relented, perhaps at the request of our friend Lachi. When I was 20, I was comfortably in college, enjoying learning and life with friends. What values could I have held so dearly that I could stand up under threat of death? How could I do it then? How could I do it now? My takeaway that day was that each of the families took a different stand during communism. And like all of their fellow villagers, they lived together, worked together, worshiped together, and struggled together. They each knew where each other stood. And now, after communism, with most of their lands returned to them, they still live together, work together, worship together, and still struggle together, though the 21st century challenges are quite different. Today, reflecting back on these memories, I wonder, what binds the people of Gyepes together so tightly that they don't just walk away from the challenges of getting along? I can't help but ask myself, Can we do as well? I carry these questions as I deepen my commitment to this community, to you, and to our friends in Gyepes. May it be so.
Thank you, Marge. For the next portion of our service, we're going to share a short video sharing memories of the last 30 years of partnership, some amazing visits to the village, and a little bit about our sponsoring of educational pursuits of Gyepes youth and children. As with everything these days, we're putting a little pressure on our technology this morning. So if for some reason it's not playing loudly or working in your home, I urge you to take this moment and take a deep breath and think about our connection and how lucky we are to share this liberal, amazing faith with our worldwide partners, and especially our partners in Gyepes, Transylvania. So Kai's going to give it a go, and we'll all take a deep breath and send some good strength to our technology this morning.
I remember delicious food made with love by our friends in Gyepes.
I remember parents showing us his huge bowl and also letting us try to milk his cows just after church.
I remember riding in the wagons, seemingly the entire village, folks on horseback, kids on bicycles, over the hills, joking about wild boar, to a wonderful picnic.
I remember crossing the old bridge over the stream that runs through the center of the village, and I didn't get wet, not once.
I remember you all being so welcoming and kind to me. And I remember realizing that I wanted to become a teacher because I had so much fun at art camp each summer.
I'll always remember my first youth camp in Loco. And now all those kids are grown up.
I'll always remember my first taste of green walnut polenta, but I'll never forget Leosha's infectious laughter.
I remember dancing until the cows came home, literally, because at 8 p.m. the cows need to be milked.
In 3, we have supported the education of 47 Gyepes students, including
4 graduated from the university. J.K. Isti, Laszlo Chila, Demeter Domakos, and Laszlo Bernadette, who just graduated from seminary.
5 students were our first sponsored students, all who have graduated from high school. Demeter Naomi and Emma K, J.K. Ava and Alec, and Sultan Domakos.
Our 10 current students are Gal, Renata, and Norby, Laszlo Lajos, Shandor Chaba and Chabi, Ilyas Hunor, Demeter Aniko, and the Dobernel brothers, Levi, Valent, and Jolt.
We also look forward to sponsoring the 3 babies in Gyepes.
Thank you to all 30 families who have been sponsors. There are 8 First Universalist families who have sponsored students for at least 6 years. Newtons, Swardlicks, Guernseys, McAloneys, Titcombs, Joy Aarons, Joanna Lansman.
And Ann Turner, who has sponsored Bernadette for 9 years, all of high school and 5 years of university.
We at First Universalist, Yarmouth, Maine, send warm greetings and gratitude to our friends in Gyepes, our partner church for 30 years. My name is Reverend Hilary Collins-Gilpatrick. I am the newly settled minister at First Universalist, Yarmouth. And Reverend Andrash, I am so looking forward to our relationship, our friendship, and our continued support and interest in one another's lives. I long and look forward to the day when I can visit you all and meet you in person and celebrate this long partnership together. May it continue far into the future. We wish you all good health these days, much joy, and many, many blessings today and all days. Thank you for being our partner church. Thank you for being our friends.
Awesome, nice, super awesome.
Thank you, Partner Church Council, for participating in that video, and thank you, Lily, for compiling it and editing it. It is, as you say, super awesome. And thank you to all who have sponsored students in Gyepes over the years. As we said earlier in the service, if you'd like to join us after the service, there is a link to our Zoom learning hour where we will be talking all about Gyepes and the student sponsorships and how you can get involved if you'd like. Our closing hymn is number 1043 in the teal hymnal, Zeke Aldash.
Oh
We give thanks for Gyepes. We give thanks for our 30-year partnership with the people of Gyepes. We offer this prayer to them. We offer this prayer to the world. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May our roots hold us close. May our branches stretch up to the bright blue sky that we all live under. May the spirit of life set us free. Go in peace, my friends. Have a good day. See you soon. Okay.